Have you ever felt like you're the unluckiest person in the world? Ever got stuck in traffic on the exact day of your GenMath exam? These events resulted to the birth of a set of laws, a set of rules that heavily impacted the world today. These are not just mere bad luck. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Murphy's Law. Now, in order to fully grasp and understand the meaning behind the Murphy's Law, we must first look back at its roots and understand where it came from. It all started in 1949 at Edwards Air Force Base by an engineer named Captain Edward Murphy. One day, while he was working at his latest project, the Air Force Project MX-981, he realized that the technician wired the wires backwards. He said that if there is a way to do it wrong, he will find it. Move forward to May of 1955, Aviation Mechanics Bulletin used the term Murphy's Law and said that if an aircraft piece can be incorrectly placed, it will be incorrectly placed. Today, it all boils down to one simple phrase. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Now, you might be wondering, how can this affect our everyday lives? Well, it affects our everyday life because it is connected to science and simple probability. Take a look at this one example. You are at the grocery wanting to pay for your items. You see 5 cashiers. You pick one. You look around you and realize that your line is lower than the rest. You blame it on luck. But this is actually Murphy's Law on work. See, simple probability says that you only have 1 out of 5 chance of getting the fastest line. This means that it is more probable for you to lose than to win. Murphy's Law is real because Murphy's Law is just pure science. On to the next example. This is the Murphy's Law on buttered toast. This states that if a toast falls down with butter on one end and none on the other, it will almost always fall with the buttered side on the floor. Robert Matthews, a science correspondent, made an experiment with 1,000 children of throwing toasted bread with butters. And it showed that 62% of the bread fall in the floor with the buttered side. But why? Well, because the butter is unproportional on each side, it has a tendency that one side is heavier than the other, meaning that one side will rotate slower than the other, meaning that the buttered side, it being the heavier side, has longer time face down than the one without the butter. Murphy's Law is simply pure science. But Murphy's Law can play an even bigger role than just grocery lines and buttered toast. See, Mercury astronauts from 1962 used the Murphy's Law and put it in place into their workplace, making sure to recheck every procedure before starting the actual presentation. This is because Murphy believed that his line is actually having a positive effect, saying that he wants us to expect the worst for us to safeguard ourselves in the worst to come. Dr. Jack Barrett also tells us that Murphy's Law is present in the laws of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics states that systems, when left unchecked, tend to be more disordered. That means that it will be more disordered just like Murphy's Law. It will go wrong. It's also shown in the third law of thermodynamics, saying that a perfect system is practically impossible because there can only be one acceptable outcome, but there are many unacceptable and even disastrous outcomes. Now, this might make us think we shouldn't try because we're going to fail anyways. But the same man, Murphy, once said that a closed mouth gathers no feet. So, we should just try and do not fear. Because failure is just a way to success. Failure is just a rough pointer on how to be better next time. Just be happy and remember that every failure is just a way to be right next time. That is all. Thank you.